What is a reason you are glad to be single?
You are glad to be single. A lot of people I know who've ruined their lives did so over a lover, whether trying to get one, keep them, or fighting someone else over them. Relationships can be very dangerous if you're too emotionally immature. Love really messes with your brain chemistry in a powerful way. It's such a potent drug, especially when you add that to unhealthy dynamics. Makes the highs higher and the lows lower. Totally. I read that it takes a while for your brain's dopamine response to quit reacting so poorly after a breakup. It helped me through the early days of some bad breakups to know that time literally does heal. Or get an STD, or expensive divorce, or kids with the wrong person. Can still get an STD if you're single and sexually active. Although unlikely because we're Redditors. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want without checking in with anyone. Also, no woman should have to be subjected to my toxic family. You shouldn't be subjected to your toxic family either. I shouldn't, but I don't have much of a choice right now. Yep. After my only surviving parent passed, I moved 2,000 miles away from toxic family and community. I'm totally free to be me and live the life I want. The only things stressing me are my own stresses. I don't have to help support someone else through theirs. Interestingly enough, I always hoped I could be the person someone would come to after a bad day. I also hated feeling helplessly unable to cheer my ex up when they had a bad day and I couldn't go see them. Christmas is coming and I have no stress and it's not expensive. Agreed. On top of loving that I can live alone. I just bought a house that needs furnished. So aside from the parents' sibling secret Santa, my money is mine to buy what I need and also share what I don't for a good cause. Donating to my local animal shelter this year. I'm naturally very empathetic and a people pleaser. It's a part of my brain that goes into hyperdrive when I'm with someone I like. It's not even conscious most of the time, but it can be exhausting. It's nice that my brain can turn that part off when I'm alone. Also, I can wake up and go to sleep at any time I want without messing up my sleeping patterns and middle of the bed, and not needing to check in with his plans. I'm a burnt out people pleaser. I'm learning how to put myself first and not just do everything I can to make everyone else happy. I can sleep in the middle of the bed with the fan on if I want. I can also leave something on the table and come back 2 weeks later and it is still there. I could not say better. Midnight flatulence without a care. Any decent long-term relationship will surpass the fart barrier at some point. I've been in a relationship forever, but we have separate rooms. I always sleep in the middle of the bed, diagonally. I always sleep in the middle of the bed, diagonally. So does my wife. We don't have separate rooms, though. I can do whatever I want and not feel guilty about spending time with no one. This was my exact thought. Do what I want, whenever I want, as a married man, with kids. This is probably what I miss the most, especially kids, man. It's one thing to have a partner around to have to get permission from to do things, but kids is a whole different story. No matter what I want to do tonight, my kid is going to wake up at 7 AM, needs to be changed, fed, etc. I have been single most of my adult life and I find it really annoying when I am living with a partner. I had a partner who snored and that really affected me with the lack of sleep I was getting, and you get set in your ways, then all of a sudden you have someone wanting you to do a whole bunch of things another way. I don't necessarily prefer to be single, but I prefer to live on my own. No longer being forced to hang out with their friends, especially when the friends are one-dimensional pretentious turnips. She's a sad tomato. Effing freedom. I love the single life. Call me selfish, but this is it in a nutshell for me. The freedom to wake up and go to sleep when I want to decorate and organize my home, that I bought and paid off on my own, as I like, to make my plans and schedule as I see fit, to watch, read, play whatever I want, to buy and wear whatever I want, to cook and eat whatever I want, and not have to share and make long-term financial and career goals without having to worry about it conflicting with someone else's. There's a lot of comments where people are saying that they are in a relationship and have all of these things, and that I must have been in some type of abusive relationship prior. First, no, I have not been in an abusive relationship, but have seen numerous friends have to change their lives for a partner. Second, I'm sure there are plenty of wonderful and healthy relationships out there, yours included, perhaps, but every relationship, especially if you're cohabitating and or married involves some amount of sacrifice and compromise. Big financial decisions, especially if finances are merged, require both partners to be on board. Closet space, bed space, kitchen and bathroom space need to be shared. You can't fill up a shared closet or counter space with just your items. When you wake up and go to sleep may not be dictated by your partner, but you need to be considerate of him/her when you do so, especially if you have children or pets together. You can't just schedule plans without letting the other person know and making sure those dependents will be taken care of while you're out. There are also usually some shared groceries and meals, so unless your partner has 100% the same food preferences as you on the days you have it, there are days you need to compromise on that as well. I'm not saying all relationships are bad and that you can't have a net benefit from being in one vs being single, but being single works best for just me and my life, and that doesn't have any impact on yours. Yup, I get to play video games, watch movies, build the most expensive Lego sets, and focus on my job a lot more while totally uninterrupted. I hate having to check my phone constantly because I might miss my partner's texts and have to deal with a stupid argument. Not saying all partners are like that, just in my experience, not having to wonder whether they're into you for you or just for your Bionicle collection. Learn to love myself without needing anyone else's words of affirmation after being single for the first time in a few years. I've been trying to work on this after being dumped 6 months ago, but haven't had much luck yet. Any tips? Sounds cheesy, but I found doing affirmations to myself daily has been life-changing. I ended up really high on an edible one night and found myself sitting in front my mirror basically naked just looking at myself and appreciating everything about myself. I even ended up singing a little song to myself about different parts of my body that I suddenly felt so much love for. I spent nearly 2 hours just appreciating and thanking my body for everything, especially the parts I would typically be critical of. Since then, spending at least 10 minutes, even if not consecutive, just appreciating myself for physical, emotional, and mental traits I have has been incredibly effective. Eater, thanks for the awards. Eater 2, thank for you the silver kind stranger. Piapa Wakyo, Confucius, Suns up. I'm not a huge fan of the single life, but in the past when I've been in a relationship, I always felt like I needed to check my phone 24/7. I like being able to just chill and play video games, watch a movie, hang with friends without checking my phone consistently. I agree, I texted with my ex way too much. I wish we had just FaceTimed to talk instead. Even better, hung out in person much more. I definitely think this changes with age. When I was younger there was definitely pressure to answer texts immediately in relationships, but as I have gotten older people don't seem to expect it as much anymore due to jobs or other responsibilities going on in their lives. I think this is pretty generation specific, so I'll assume you are fairly young, because I'm 44, and never had a relationship where I was expected to be reachable 24/7. I guess for those of us who grew up before cell phone texting etc days, we just don't expect that as much. It's nice, TBH, as I'd go crazy if my so got mad over me not responding to a text or call immediately. It would be a deal breaker. I'm learning to navigate the world through the lens of my own needs and desires without worrying how I'm being perceived by a partner. I do not believe I will be a good person to be in a relationship until I can do that, so I'm happy to struggle with it. Also, I really love dancing poorly to LCD sound system while my dog watches with fear and judgment in his eyes. Not that I couldn't do that before, it's just so free to do it in my own apartment alone. Had to move back in with my parents during COVID. Blasting music and bad solo bedroom dancing has definitely reduced compared to when I was on my own. +1 for LCD sound system. My main poisons were talking heads and PC music. I was engaged but broke it off in July after putting up with a lot of disrespect from him and his family. I had quite a bit of money saved aside for our wedding, but now I can spend it on things I wanted for a very long time. I am finally taking care of myself and learning more about who I am as an individual instead of being someone's fiancé. Kudos to you for seeing it for what it was and not going ahead with the wedding hoping things would change after you got married. I fell for that one. As someone who got out of a 3-year-long relationship about 4 months ago, I would say one of the biggest thing I'm glad about being single is being able to see myself clearly again. You don't realize how much being in a relationship can blind you to how you've changed, or how love can numb you to certain things. When I got out of that relationship and once the initial crying and being depressed phase ended, I slowly realized how much happier I was and how much I've changed. Some of it good and some bad, but it was like being able to see myself through a clear lens and not through a distorted one. Because I'd rather be single than be with someone who doesn't appreciate my love and affection. I used to hate love and affection. Fell in love, loved affection. Now I'm the most affectionate person I know and have no one to give it to. We all love Yahoo P. I read this article a while ago that really clarified my feelings on this. Studies show that people who are married are on average slightly happier than people who are not married, which has been known for a long time. So people have sort of internalized this idea that marriage equals happiness. But when you break down the numbers and that, what it actually looks like is that people in happy marriages are much happier than everyone else and people in unhappy marriages are much less happy than everyone else. So actually the slightly happier figure is pretty meaningless and just shows that slightly more marriages are happier than unhappy, and that's what that looks like when averaged. So, for those who want it, being in a good relationship is the best situation, but being single is the second best, and far better than being in a bad relationship. Also, being single is a better position to be in if you're looking for a good relationship, because being in a bad one means you have to go through the extra steps of breakup and recovery. Plus, when you're single, you're able to work on all those things about yourself that make you ready for a good relationship. So to me it's like not the very best, but it is the second best, and that's pretty good. It's like you don't have a Jaguar but you have a Honda, and it's reliable and gets you where you need to go, and at least you're not driving car from the 70s with a leak in the fuel line and a plastic Jaguar sculpture taped on the hood. I never want to turn the key in the door and have to worry about what is going to on the other side again. I don't want to have to manage another's emotions or walk on eggshells. I love the peace that my space is mine alone. I also hate the obligations that tend to come with relationships. I don't want to attend other people's events, or buy presents for in-laws, etc. Basically, I'm selfish. My apartment is clean and neat, and most importantly, 95% empty. Being a minimalist, I have this fear of liking someone and it turns out that they are a hoarder messy. No longer feel like I'm dragging a dead body behind me through life. Honestly, being single allowed me to put more focus on finishing my undergrad degree, which I just did this last week. I don't want to take into account someone else's wants and needs when making life decisions. I just graduated from college during COVID and I'm so lost, so I don't want to have a partner until I'm less lost. I learned who I am after I decided to stop dating. It's been 4 years being single, and I really love who I've become. I was able to establish myself, my goals, and who I want to be. Not having to deal with partners leaving you completely unfulfilled and always putting their bullshit above you. Not having to argue to exist in the ways you do because their insecurities and lack of self-worth smother your joy. I can do whatever I want whenever I want. If I want to stay up late, I can. If I want to go to sleep early, I can. If I want to sleep in, I can. If I want to wake up late, I can. If I want to buy that Xbox, PS, Nintendo, or upgrade my PC, I can. If I want to play video games, I can. If I want to watch a movie, I can. If I feel like watching TV, I can. If I feel like listening to music, I can. If I feel like reorganizing or redecorating my apartment, I can. If I want to go out to eat, I can. If I feel like cooking something at home, I can. I can choose how I use my time. I can choose how I spend my money. I can choose how I save my money. Do I feel lonely? I'll admit it. Sometimes I do, but I have good friends. If I feel like hanging out with my friends, if someone wants to hang out with me, I can. If I don't feel like going out, I can stay home. On a day-to-day basis, I struggle less with feelings of guilt. There are things one misses out on by not being in a relationship, but not beating yourself up over a snappish reply or a thoughtless gesture towards someone you care about or not among them. Just scrolling through the comments in an effort to make myself feel better about going into this long dark COVID restricted winter as a single woman. I've had some really abusive relationships. Singleness safety. I can come home and unwind and not hear someone else tell me about their shitty day or remind me about the dishes in the sink or the laundry or the things we need to do or places we need to go. My life is stressful enough with just me and my job in it. Another person might drive me effing bat right now, honestly. I don't like spending time with people. I have one friend I see once every 2 weeks and that's enough socializing for me. Now that I am single, no one can drink, get DUIs, use all my money to pay their fines, cheat on me, leave me, falsely accuse me abusing my children in order to not have to pay child support and sue me for divorce. So there's that. All of them. I am single for the last 10 years. All my money is mine. All my time is mine. All my attention goes where I want it to go, minus distractions. AskReddit. In my view, the planet is overpopulated, so there is no serious thought of reproduction. I just try to get fulfillment in life.